Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Ed from alternative rock band University Drive.
How's it going, man? Good, hanging in there.
Cautious indecision. I'm sure that you wanna see how I figure you and yours out. Forever you disagree. Is this an execution? And what do you want from me? You say you need retribution. I think you want everything.
I want to dig into some of your history. How did you get involved in music? What age? And what age did you start playing guitar?
When I first kind of got really turned on to music, I think I was maybe 10 or 11. I was really into the hair metal bands when I was really young, like really, really young. Not even really because of the music. I just was a kid and I thought they looked cool. So I kind of got into them that way. Got into music at least to start that way, and then I started to take guitar lessons. But I only took guitar lessons for like, I don't know, less than a year off and on, and then I lost interest. But then over the course of, I don't know, by the time I was about 13 or 14, my friend like gave me the Nevermind Nirvana record, and it kind of fucking changed my life. So it was a whole reintroduction into everything, and I kind of retaught myself how to play guitar and stuff. So yeah, really, it was about 13 or 14 when I kind of got into everything.
And that's when you really pursued it more.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I was my whole life, even as a kid, like when I really got into something, it was whatever I was doing at that point. If I got into something else, it was like that's gone now. Now I'm doing this like 100%. So, I was really into. I used to be like real into martial arts and stuff like that when I was a kid, and when I found that record, a friend of mine was like, "You should really listen to Nirvana." Okay, sure, whatever. And then I saw a live performance of them playing Breed, and it was like it was a beautiful disaster. The best way I could kind of describe it. I never saw anything like that. As a kid, I'm just was used to seeing the music videos and perfect polished, dance moves and choreography, and to see this band that's like, I don't know, like it could go off the train could go off the tracks at any moment, kind of vibe, and it just sort of like just changed everything, and I threw myself like really really heavily into music, like everything, nothing else occupied my mind, and I've been kind of in that state of mind. I'm 35 now, so you know what I mean. I've been doing it for a long time.
Who are some of your musical influences?
Well, obviously Kurt Cobain was like the first one. That was, the very very first one. um but I really love Jimmy Eat World a lot. I really love the Beatles a lot. I really love Weezer, and I love a lot of the early Foo Fighters stuff, like the first like four records in particular. Those main even though they're a little more mainstream kind of sounding records, there's just such a there's a rawness still to a lot of those early records that I really love, but it has like the pop melodies to it, So there's something about that, the rawness of those early records, teamed with like these pop, simple but really like iconic sounding melodies. So definitely those guys, and I mean, I just like fell really hard into punk rock and stuff too growing up. So, but those guys are the big ones.
Can you tell me how the band formed?
Yeah. So it's kind of not a weird story, but like to get to this band, I kind of have to start at this other band I was in. I played in this band called The Social State for like, I don't know, almost 10 years, like 8 years I was in that band. And we were all like real into, I guess, saves the day, like more like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it. Not pop, it wasn't pop punk, but it was very fluid emo kind of thing, but it was cool. Anyways, it was a great band. It was great fun. I loved it. And the band just sadly kind of fell apart right when I felt like we were at our peak, you know? So when that happened, a lot of things in my life were kind of like collapsing around me all of a sudden. And I said, I'm just got to walk away for like the first time in my life from music for a little while. So there's a period of about 3 months where I just said, fuck it. I'm not doing anything for a while. And I just started writing songs. And then little by little, I had like, I don't know, 20 or 30 songs. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to make a record on my own because I idolized the way that Dave Grohl made the self-titled Foo Fighters record, and I always just wanted to do that. I'm not a very good drummer. I'm not very good at any of those things, but I can kind of make my way through them. So I thought, well, why not? Like, what else am I going to do? I'm not going to join a fucking bowling league, so I might as well go and give it a shot. So I went down to this local studio called JL Studios. They're like our best buds. And I just recorded the album on my own, minus one song. I had the old band come in. We kind of like squashed some stuff and, you know, all hugs and happy family stuff. Uh, but I made that first record, and there weren't any even really intentions to necessarily pursue it like a band. It was more or less like, okay, I'm gonna record this thing. I have this thing. Now I'm gonna approach it like a collective. So when I have a show, if someone asks us to play a show, I'll just get whoever's available to come and play the show. And that was kind of the origins of the band. But over the course of, you know, now it's been 7 years that this has been a band. Uh, Members came and went, and we finally, I would say, have like the right lineup, you know, and it's an actual band now. So
So it was kind of like a solo project you were doing, and then you just grabbed whoever you could to play out.
yeah, and it was like the solo project in the beginning, because we have two records out, but the first record was very much a solo project, but the second one was, even though there were a couple songs on that, I think there's 12 or 13 songs on the record, Clear. Um, Even though 8 of those songs or 7 of those songs we did as a full band, it was the other songs I just went in and tracked myself just to like do it fast, you know? Because if I have a song in my head, I could, you know, be like, okay, I'm going to explain every part that I hear in my head. And okay, no, don't record it like that, blah, blah, blah. Or I could just go in and just knock it out quick. Usually it's a budget thing and a time thing, more so than like an ego thing of like, I could do it better. It's not that I can't do it better, but I know I could get it done fast. So
I wanted to talk about that first record. When you went in, how long did it take you to like complete that from start to finish?
it's hard to remember looking back exactly, but it wasn't very long. It was, I mean, maybe 5 months, maybe 6 months. I don't know. It was really fun though, because all of a sudden, again, I love working with other people. I love having like my current lineup to throw things, you know, be like, what do you think of this? And oh, I don't like that. And it puts me in a headspace. But there is something to be said about just going in on your own with like complete focus on a project, no matter what it is, music or anything, because we just, you know, we would pick. Sometimes I would get there, and Joe Loftus, the guy who was recording us, he'd be like, "Yo, I set the drums up in this weird way, and I'm trying this new miking thing, and we're using this new piece of outboard gear, and oh, what do you want to do for your session? He's like, I kind of have some things. I'm like, let's fucking do that. Let's just go down that, whatever thing you're going down, let's go down. Let's try it. So every session would be a little different, but super focused and fun. But it wasn't long. I mean, it really was, I think, maybe at the most 6 months to get it done.
And it felt like there was no pressure to release it. You could just take your time and focus on it.
Yeah, yeah, big time. It was like there was no pressure and there was pressure because there's a little bit of like the local scene where I come from, like the Scranton Wilkes-Barre music scene. Like a lot of people had known the bands that I kind of played with, and knew that band, a Social State in specific. Not like a lot of people, but just that circle, that the scene or whatever you want to call it. So while there was no real external pressure of like you better not fuck this up, in my head I was like, kind of don't want to fuck this up, So, but but for the most part, it was complete. It really was like complete clarity as far as like the recording and the writing and everything. It was just kind of a zen moment.
How did you come up with the name for the band?
It's so silly. I just I always feel bad whenever anybody asks me the question because I always feel like there should be a way cooler answer, but the real answer is I just couldn't think of a band name. And where I lived at the time in Troop, right up the street, there's Penn State Worthington's campus, and there's just a big sign that says University Drive there. And I was driving by and I just saw, I said University Drive, and I was like, that's not like the worst band name. There are worse band names than University Drive. So, but then I thought about it. I was like, the way that I think about that name is like somebody either being kind of arrogant to someone else and being like, you can't do that, you don't have the university drive to do things, you don't have this drive to do things, or in the way of like, no, I can do this, I do have the university drive. So it's kind of a goofy name, but it's kind of the idea.
What city is your band based out of?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I wanted to dive in a couple of your songs. You released Execution February 2022, and that song has a little bit of a Weezer type vibe to it.
Totally. Oh, 100%. Absolutely. We kind of had, so with this like newer record that's part of our new record Heal that's coming out. Um, we or the way that I would kind of write songs, because quickest backtrack. When I was in that other band, we went to this studio in Port Jefferson, New York called Voodoo Studio. It's like fucking state of the art, beautiful studio. Worked with amazing producers. And whenever I listen to that record, now that it's finished, I always feel a little bummed out because I felt like I didn't deliver the songs. I feel like the production was great and all the choices that they made were really good, but I felt like I always kind of dropped the ball. Half the record I think is great, and the other half I think is kind of like I just fucked up. Essentially, that's how I feel. Um, so when I had the opportunity to record it 8 days a week, and we were kind of had this open policy of like just record as much as possible over the next year and a half, 2 years. I was like, there is no way in hell I'm getting this second opportunity and not going there with only 12 songs. So I like overcompensated, and I went down there with, like, no joke, like 55, 60, seriously, like all fleshed out demos, like of everything, like so we could go through all these things. So the reason I say all that is because I started just through boredom, just as like exercises when I'd be working on these songs, just going like, oh, I've been listening to a lot of AFI, so I want to try to write a song that has like an AFI feel. So and I one of the songs was titled AFY, like AFY, the fuck you doing that at? But then that execution song, that was a perfect, like, just me going like, I want to make something super Weezery because I always try, like, used to try to run away from that because I would get that tag a lot years ago, and now I just don't care. Like, yeah, I love those records, you know. So it definitely does have a Weezer vibe.
This is an execution. And what do you want from me? You say you want retribution. I know you want everything. This is an execution. And what do you want from me? You say you need retribution. I think you want everything.
Another song is called Ending, and it came out October 2021. And I just love how you phrase the vocals in the verse. Did you set out to do that? Like it all comes together, like that?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, oh, totally. Actually, that song was kind of like I it's loosely based on this movie called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It was on Netflix, and just one night, me and my wife were, trying to figure out something we're gonna watch on TV when, I'm like in the midst of demoing and COVID lockdown and all that shit. Uh, and she texted our one friend Meg and was like, "What should we watch?" She said, "Oh, you should put this movie on. I'm thinking of ending things." And I watched it, and it was just so fucking bizarre. It's just a super bizarre, weird. Like there's time jumps where it's very hard plot to explain. Uh, but the mini version is this woman and her boyfriend they're taking a drive and they're going to meet the boyfriend's parents for the first time. That's basically the plot of the movie. But then through all this crazy imagery and time jumps, and you see the family, like you'll see them eating dinner and they're all the same age, and then you'll see a time jump and the mother's on the deathbed, and then it's really really insane, and in a weird way, because a year earlier, my mom passed unexpectedly, and it kind of inspired the whole Clear record. In a weird way, I saw a lot of things that I related to in that movie. It's like the idea of time just slipping away so quickly, and just feeling like you know all of a sudden you're living one life, or you're thinking it's this one thing, but in reality it's this other thing. So that influenced me. I literally went upstairs and I just started demoing that ending song, and it came out almost exactly like on the demo version how it came out on the record, as far as like its arrangement and, like you were saying, like the vocal phrasing and everything. So but yeah, it was all super intentional. I just want it to be a super kind of dark ride with little references from that movie.
You captured me. 10 years carved into us. Am I real or just imagining the outcome shared at the start?
You guys have a album release party August 26th. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, this record we've been working on for a really long time. We finally finished it, finally had it mixed. And we were going to have it released right before we went on and did the tour with Cold, the Black Sunday tour. But some shit it just didn't work out. Stuff just kind of fell out from underneath us through that whole time. And we had to push it for a little bit. When we got back, everything got finished up, and we are planning this big release party at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains, Pennsylvania, which it's all basically Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. Like, I think of anywhere in like Northeast Pennsylvania, I just assume, I'm just like, yeah, that's Scranton, or yeah, that's Wilkes-Barre. Um, but yeah, our friends' bands are playing it. Retrovi, which is actually our bass player Ryan's other band, and they're fucking, all the bands are awesome. They're fucking great though. Um, our other friends in a band called just in James Barrett's band. He just goes by James Barrett. Beautiful, almost like Angels and Airwaves kind of music vibe, but really focused, like just really great vocals, really really great focused vocal melodies. Retrovi is more a little heavier, but um, a little more aggression, but still great melodies. And then Estacota, there, a lot of the people who were in Estacota were actually in that Social State band I was telling you about. So they're all, it's very incestuous, but yeah. So James Barrett, Retrovi, Estacota, and then we're gonna close out the night there, and we'll have the album released. So,
What else do you have planned for the rest of 2022?
well, we're in the process right now of booking some like just some one-off gigs here and there, like not necessarily a string of tour dates, but at the same time we're looking to try to get like a week or 2 week run here and there. I don't know if that'll happen before the end of the year, but we're definitely, that's kind of on our radar. But the goal right now is just get this record released and play as many shows as we possibly can, and do put out as much content. Kind of want to just kill everybody with content at the moment, you know. So really proud of the record. I'm really really proud of the record. It's the hardest and the longest I ever worked on a record. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't have any expectations about any of this stuff. I just like to do it, and I love to do it. So that's why I do it. But I feel like the amount of work that we all put into the record deserves at least a proper push, and not just, okay, we released the album, that's it. You know, I want to really, when we release it, that's the beginning. So
How can we get a hold of you? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
all those are great avenues. I mean, I would say if you want the easiest way to get a hold of us at the moment is probably through Instagram. Just that's where we're most active. It seems like that's where everybody's most active as far as musicians. Besides TikTok, definitely not our TikTok. Our TikTok sucks at the moment. I don't know how to do the things that the kids are doing. So I don't know what the fuck's happening. But but definitely Instagram's the way to go. At University Drive.
That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can do it again in the future.